What's going on, guys? Throwing together a quick update video. I'm going to keep this video short like I did the one yesterday. The list of charts I have, I'm going to continue to touch on them. I'll try to make it fast. I'll update them, and I'm going to touch on them on a daily basis because I think they're important. I have a pretty good tracking on AMC on the micro right now. AMC is heading for $5. Probably is going to see high fours tomorrow and 5 plus on Thursday. So I'll get into that in a little bit. But first, we're going to jump into SPY, which is extremely bullish. 1 year downtrend, descending broadening wedge. Broke to the upside, retested twice here. Found a bounce off, confirmed the test. Very bullish. Day 47 in a row, closing over the 200 EMA. Very bullish. Golden cross on the daily on SPY. Very bullish. This chart is extremely bullish. I'm very bullish here. Have SPY going to new highs. For now, short term, I think SPY is going to be coming back down, potentially filling the gap here at 422.50. So short term bearish, macro perspective, the outlook on SPY in general is bullish, but short term it's looking bearish. I think we're coming back down to fill that gap. So jumping into the macro with a different look here on the 4 hour, the descending broadening wedge that we have here transitioning into an ascending triangle. I touched on this multiple times in my previous videos. Broke it to the upside, came up to this 430 resistance, rejected right there. This uptrend that we're seeing on SPY right now looks very similar to the uptrend that we saw right here 2 weeks ago. How you bounce up here, consolidate on the side for a minute, get the rest of the move up. You come down, you're pretty much flat here. You have a boxy top here with the lower low on the right. It looks very similar to what we have over here. How you come up, consolidate here, get the rest of the move, come down, you're flat, and then you get a double top here with the lower low, and then from there you get downside pretty much all the way back to the bottom with a slightly higher high, which it looks like would take us to 418 on the dot to retest on the macro. I have SPY coming back down, at least filling the gap at 422.50. I would be shocked if SPY broke this 430 range, because after this it's 450. I don't think we're ready to break that yet. So short term, I'm bearish on SPY, have it coming back down. Long term, very bullish on SPY. It looks very good. I mentioned how the move is symmetrical here. Very symmetrical move on SPY. I'm not going to really touch on this again. I went over the touch points are pretty much perfect. And in the end of the green box here, you have some chop in this 430 to 418 range, which is why I'm expecting to come back down at least one more time and retest on the macro. This move is completely symmetrical. Lowest bottom in the blue box would be your middle. Both reds came below this horizontal line at 380. This one slightly lower to retest on the macro as well. Same way it did up here. That break above that I mentioned was pretty much irrelevant in the ascending triangle because it was going to happen anyway to reject off the descending broadening wedge. Come up to 418 on the dot in both, and then come down to 380 on the dot in both, and then find a bounce up to this 430 resistance in both. It's completely symmetrical. This move is perfectly symmetrical. So in this range here in the green box, there was some pretty volatile chop here from 430 to the 418 range, and actually even lower. I don't think we're going to be going lower than 418, but I think we'll at least come down one more time to test on the macro on this ascending triangle. The breakout here, I said I'm not convinced with this test right here. I think we're coming down one more time here to test 418. So short-term bearish and long-term bullish on SPY. It's a very bullish looking chart. Just short-term, I think we're going to be coming down to retest on the macro. So that's that. Mentioned this as well, the market sync, SPY breaking both macro patterns to the upside. There's a macro breakout right there. At the same time, AMC has broken its macro to the upside and is in the middle of the retest, and the retest actually confirmed and is now finding some upside. This is curling back up to the upside. Higher lows here, higher highs. This looks very, very good. I'll get into the tracking in a little while, so that's it for that. Jumping into the macro, nothing changed. Green, red, blue, tracking perfectly except descending. It's legitimately perfect. The only difference is we're descending. Really not much to say there. Macro zoomed in. Here's my macro perspective up top without bars. Green, red, and blue is the green, red, and blue here. Same thing except descending. And then down below shows the blue box here that led up to the squeeze, and then this blue box will be taking us to our squeeze is where we are. This is what we're tracking. I mentioned multiple times. We got our first bottom, our tri-peak rejecting resistance, second bottom with a lower low, uptrend breaks you out of the macro, retest, confirm the retest squeeze. First low, tri-peak rejects resistance, second low, lower low there, uptrend breaks you out of the macro, and now we're in the retest. Retest confirmed, and it looks like we're going to start seeing some upside here. I mentioned that this move is going to play out symmetrical. More than likely it will. And we're going to be looking at a 650 top before we get the macro fractal break, the gap up to the top of the tri-peak. That will be taking us to our squeeze. That trend angle. Once again, this is the blue box of January 2021. This is the blue box of what we're tracking now. The trend angles are the same from the top of it down over your tri-peak into your breakout and retest, minus 42 degrees. Same exact thing over here from the top of it, rejecting the tri-peak, and then down to your breakout and the retest. The bottom trend angle from low to low, 176 degrees here, 178 degrees here. It's pretty much perfect on both. The bottom trend angle and the top trend angle are pretty much the exact same thing. And one other thing I wanted to touch on is that this retest is playing out in a descending fashion, as opposed to the January 2021 retest was flat. This is pretty much, it's more or less a W here. A lot of chop in the middle, but this is a W, very symmetrical move with a slightly higher top on the right. And it's playing out the exact same way here, except descending. So this would be the breakout, and now we're playing this W pattern out, except it's descending. And this makes sense because, once again, the macro that we are tracking, this green, red, and blue, was completely flat back here. And from the breakdown of this flag in November, we reset back into this, and we're playing this out in a descending fashion. So that is why our retest is descending, and it looks like the bottom's in. We have an uptrend now. I'm going to get into the tracking. It looks very, very good. So once again, the breakout and the retest in the 1 hour, very strong support. The macro, the previous macro resistance now acting as support, very strong support here. Held up for a month straight. Very strong resistance up top on the micro. This trend line pinching us into a descending wedge. We broke out of it. We retested on it, held the retest, and now we're finding some higher highs and higher lows. Very nice uptrend that we have going on here. This is a confirmation of a retest if I've ever seen it. This looks fucking amazing. Legitimately, this looks perfect. It's already playing out symmetrically. You could see it. The bottoming action of this first leg of the W looks almost perfect to what we're seeing here. And now we're going to be getting the climb back up. So that looks very good. I mentioned this multiple times as well, that this retest is fucking gross. This is disgusting how perfectly this is hold up for us. So here's the blue box, the trend line that rejects the tri-peak, and then you find your breakout and retest. This looks insane. Very, very low volume barcodey retest here, holding on the previous macro resistance as support. We got the first leg of the W, our second leg of the W, and now we're curling to the upside, finding higher highs and higher lows. This looks fucking amazing. Looks very, very good. With that being said, now, I mentioned multiple times that tracking on the micro needs to be taken with a grain of salt. It's very, very hard to do. With that being said, I have a pretty good grounding on where we are on the micro, and we'll see how tomorrow goes. But one more time, just so everyone's following, we got our first bottom, our tri-peak that rejects resistance, our second bottom with a lower low, our breakout, and now we're in the retest. Right, so same thing over here. First bottom, tri-peak rejecting resistance. Second bottom, slightly lower low. Uptrend breaks you out, and now the retest. The trend angles are identical. So we would be in this retest where you break out and you play this W out. That's symmetrical, except we would be descending because this is tracking in a descending fashion rather than being flat the way it was in 2021. So we're in the retest. We just confirmed the retest, which would have been right here. From this bottom here, you form an uptrend that leads to boom candles that take you to your double top. We confirmed our retest, and now we're in this uptrend. So with that being said, jumping into the uptrend. So on the left here, and once again, what I'm showing you here, this wants to open. What I'm showing you here is right here. So on the left is going to be January 22nd, 2021, where you confirm the retest, you find an uptrend, and then on the right is going to be our current cycle where we confirmed our retest and the uptrend right here. So that's what this is. That's what I'm showing you here. This is January 22nd, 2021, the bottom of the retest here, the confirmation, and then the uptrend that you get. And then this is our current cycle here. It's tracking perfectly. So you break down from this high here, same as here, and you form more or less this inverse head and shoulders type move. Same exact thing over here. Breaking down from this, you form this inverse head and shoulders type move, and you break out of it, and you top at pretty much the exact same place from where you broke down. So right here would have been your top. This move on the right is very boxy. It's a double top, very boxy looking move. Exactly what we have right here. Double top right there, very boxy looking, and then you come down and then break out of that to the upside. That is the top. This top of this box here is the top of the inverse head and shoulders. I'm trying to explain this the best I can. This inverse head and shoulders here, this is the top where you find this boxy double top type move right here. Inverse head and shoulders here, and then this boxy double top that we have right here. You break out of that to the upside, and you double top perfectly from where you broke down, as we did. From there, you come down and bounce off of this range. Now, this is a little bit lower, but it looks pretty much the same thing. Very sideways price action here from when you break down, and that's what we got today. Very flat price action here from the highs of today. Tomorrow, what we would be expecting is, as long as this is done playing out, I mean, there is a possibility that we keep going sideways here, but I think we're just going to get the rest of this move tomorrow morning, where this would take us to a high of day tomorrow, 489 to 493. That's what we'll be looking for as our high of day tomorrow. This is just zoomed out, so I'm showing you what this would look like for tomorrow. This is just based off of touch points. What this would look like for tomorrow would be a pump up to this range here, 489 to 493, and then potentially you come all the way back down to 465. Maybe 470 would be your low. You find a balance from there and then close somewhere in the range of 480 to 485. That's if all of this plays out tomorrow. And that's if my tracking on the micro is correct, but it looks very good. I'm pretty sure this is correct. It looks almost perfect. Almost perfect on both sides. The only difference is it's taking fucking forever. This was 11:45 to that pump that I'm talking about for tomorrow. This is 11:45 until 12:30, so pretty much an hour here. January 22nd, 2021. And this is from, I'm pretty sure, Tuesday until today is Tuesday. So that's a week. So 1 hour through this in a week. So this is playing out very, very slowly. After this last pump here, and this, I mean, this could play out differently, but after this last pump here, the price action that we're looking for tomorrow, it's boom candles. It's possible it plays out the same, where you just see boom candles up to 650. It's also possible this will be a slower climb, not just a straight line like we saw back here. One step at a time. I would really love to see this price action tomorrow. That would be amazing. We would have a very, very solid grounding on where we are on the micro. This looks really good to me. Honestly, this looks really, really good to me. I want to see this pump to 489 to 493 tomorrow. High fours tomorrow, and then potentially you come down from there back to 465, 470, and then close somewhere in the middle of that range. I would love to see that tomorrow. It's tracking perfectly, pretty much. Exaggerated dip here. We're descending anyway, so that I'm not surprised to see that. But the touch points elsewhere look very, very good. This move here is literally the same exact thing that you're seeing here. This looks very good. Inverse head and shoulders here. Same exact thing here. This boxy move right here, this double top, which you break out of, and double top where you break down from, as we did, and then you come down and you're flat, bouncing off of this as support, which is pretty much where we are. We're in this range here, bouncing off of this as support now. So I would love to see that price action tomorrow. If we do see that price action tomorrow, we know exactly where we are on the micro. So really, really hoping we see this pump to 489 to 493. That's what I'm looking for tomorrow. And that's pretty much it for the video. I don't really have anything else to say. Everything is bullish. I still have SPY coming back down, potentially filling the gap at 422.50. I think short-term bearish for SPY another day or two. I'm going to be bearish on SPY, and then from there back to bullish. And AMC is bullish. AMC should not see any downside whatsoever. We should be forming higher highs and higher lows on a daily basis from now until we peak on our squeeze. We should not be seeing any more downside at all. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of your night, and I will catch you guys tomorrow.